The last concept I want to go over with you is probably even stranger and cooler than that. This is lead in is Secrets of Heaven 4379. Would you do that? You did that really well. I'll try to get out of the way of that. Yeah.
When people are being reborn, they run through the same stages of life they do upon birth. An earlier stage always serves as a kind of egg in relation to a later stage. We are constantly being conceived and born. That's really mind-boggling.
He's not being literal there.
No, not in the literal sense.
Evolution of the spirit.
But somehow the evolution of the mind is as if, even though as far as you've come so far, that's still just an egg to what has yet to come.
Yeah.
He says this happens not only while we're living in the world, but also when we go to the other world, to eternity. Even so, we are never at more than the egg stage so far as the limitless things to come are concerned.
Because you think, if you're reading Swedenborg, you even think like, okay, we got ourselves to heaven, and now you're there, and you made it. That's kind of like, it's nice there, but that's sort of the end of the road. But that's not what he's saying at all.
No, that's right. It's as if there are different. Here's an egg here, so everything in your life so far, no matter how many phases you've already been through, is just an egg for something else. And as it's cracking, you see the light coming out.
Yeah.
That there's all this future possibility that's present there. And then after that just turns out to be an egg for another stage.
That's right. So it doesn't matter. You've lived all your life here. You've got into heaven. You're this really awesome angel. You know all this stuff, but it's like still real life hasn't even really started yet.
Hardly really begun.
Yeah. It's kind of like this, awesome. Where you have every single phase has another phase within it. You know, and the phase before was just leading to the upgraded version. That's the one next.
Keeps opening.
Yeah, I'm in that pink smiley phase right now. And I remember when we were discussing this before the episode, you gave me this cool kind of summary of the difference between Swedenborg's idea of heaven and other ideas that people like me even have held previously. So will you lay that out a little bit?
Yeah, and me too. There's sort of three different sort of models that I can think of ways that people might hold heaven. One you might call static. It's basically like Amazing Grace or something where you've been there 10,000 years and you have no less days to sing God's praise and so on. But there's not an impression that it's going to be much different on day 10,001 or whatever.
Like it's good, but
it's great.
You made it there
excellent,
and you're there.
But it's sort of a static position. Then there's more of a dynamic situation where, let's say, people who always wanted to be musical or to dance in this world, but they couldn't do it, that there's some kind of development that they're hoping. And so I see that line turns from blue to green, that they're developing as they go along, and there's sort of an increase and so on.
So it's like an idea of heaven where there's heaven, but you keep getting better in heaven. Like you get better and better at the piano, whatever. You can add an addition on your house. So heaven is not totally static. It's getting better. So that's one
dynamic
concept.
Over time. That's one concept.
But Swedenborg is describing something else.
Swedenborg's view is even more mind-boggling than that. This is sort of repeated hatching, and you see how each line, this is one person, it keeps hatching and hatching all these different colors, and it keeps expanding and expanding.
You leave the graph real quick there, that every single point is this break off into the next. And
you can't depict it, and it may unfold relatively slowly the way our life does. At what exact second do you stop being a child and start being a teenager or whatever? But still, something very different is coming from what went before, and it's cumulative. It has all the other stuff in it, but it's still somewhere you've never been. And every individual in heaven is going through that.
And it is something very good. Like it's not like, now what am I? Now what? It's like
no.
Positive. It's like the best parts of growing up and your new abilities to be able to do things.
It's phenomenal spiritual growth.
And if this is still confusing to people at home, we have one more visual aid to it. So what he's essentially saying is that the growth lasts forever. So think about the phase of being in the womb. You don't really use your senses. It's cool, but you get all your food supplied to you and everything. But the difference between that and this independent life where there are colors and sound, and you can go and you can have a career and friendships and love people, this is a whole new thing. Swedenborg is saying, so we go into this, but then we go into the afterlife, which we have to like depict with computers because we don't have video of it. But there, you're in heaven, things are going so great. You're in this community, everything. But he's saying that even after that, there are continual improvements, that it's not like this static, like we got to heaven and then it's there. And it's not like there's no continuity one to the other. Swedenborg says in a lot of ways, heaven is a lot like this life. It's just better. So the things you go into, you'll be using what you had before, but you're always improving, and not just your experience, but your ability to help other people. And so with everyone in heaven helping everyone at better and better levels, that's a lot of joy.